What's up, guys? Doc Ito here. The doctor is in. Today, we are talking about Tomb Raider 2. An article came up from Scott Mendelson that there is a Tomb Raider sequel in process. We're going to look at the box office numbers for the prior Tomb Raider movies, what the sequel needs to look out for, and how all of these numbers compare to Alita Battle Angel, and what this means for a potential Alita sequel. Remember to like and subscribe to the channel so Doc Ito can keep bringing these for repairs. Remember to vote in the petition if you haven't, which is at over 12,600 signatures right now. And vote for Alita on IMDb, Rotten Tomatoes, and Metacritic if you haven't already. Scott Mendelson writes in Forbes that the Tomb Raider sequel was a surprise, and that MGM has hired Amy Jump to write a sequel. The 2018 Tomb Raider made about $56 million in the US, $78 million in China, and $275 overall, which is similar to the movie from Tomb Raider in 2000. We can't compare these numbers directly to Alita because the Tomb Raider movie only had a budget of 90 to 100 million, significantly less than Alita Battle Angel. He thinks the flick may have performed better in post-theatrical release, or maybe MGM just wants to continue building a franchise, but in any event, he's interested in the sequel. He liked the Tomb Raider movie, and then talks about the other movies, and mentions something he calls the Tomb Raider trap, where essentially the first movie in a series makes a lot of money, but it's not a good movie, and then the sequel, which is a better movie, makes a lot less, based on the poor performance of the first, and he wonders if this sequel could avoid that trap. So let's look at these numbers a little bit. The first Tomb Raider in 2001 had a $115 million budget and made $275. In 2003, a sequel on $95 million budget only brought in $157. And then the final sequel in 2018, or a reboot, again made $275. So here's how these numbers match up, and these are millions. So Alita, again, $170 million budget, 85 in the US, 133 in China, 435 overall right now. The 2018 movie, 106, 56, 78 in China, and 275, and then the prior two movies. What I did is I adjusted these numbers based on the budget for each, so that essentially we're giving them all a hypothetical $170 million budget. This isn't the usual way to make these comparisons. Usually we have a multiplier of the total gross comparing it to the budget, but I think it's simpler to do it this way, so then we can compare the numbers to the actual Alita numbers rather than using vague multipliers to see if the movie did well. And then the numbers look like this. So the first movie would have made adjusted about $194 million in the US and a $406 million overall. The second movie was only $118 in the US and only $280 overall. So obviously this was a lot less, and that's why there was a 15-year gap from this to the reboot. And this is the 2018 movie, so this is not that dissimilar from Alita. We're looking at an adjusted of about $90 million in the US, which is very similar, $126 million in China, which is very similar, and overall it did make more at $440. Now, I'm using a multiplier on the high end of this budget of 106. If we say this budget was $90 million, then these numbers go up significantly to 106 in the US, 148 in China, and 520. So this movie, for a similar budget, made either somewhere between 40 to 100 million more than Alita. Now, a lot of these numbers were from overseas and they get devalued a little bit, but either way, the movie did perform better than Alita at the box office. However, you also have to take into account the Blu-ray situation. On home video, the 2018 Tomb Raider only made $13.3 million in the US from Blu-ray and DVD sales. Pacific Rim in the US alone made about $58 million, and I would anticipate that Alita should get numbers similar to that, so I'm thinking maybe $60 million. Even if you think of the low end of the budget of about $90 million, this $50 million gap would probably make up for any deficit from the box office that Alita may have had. From merchandise and other sources, I'm sure Alita is doing much better than Tomb Raider. So I think from a revenue standpoint, we're going to have very similar numbers, and the fact that a sequel was greenlit for Tomb Raider 2018 is a great sign for Alita. The other thing we need to look at is the IMDb scores, because Tomb Raider 1 and 2 were not great movies, 5.8 and 5.5. So overall, even the idea of the sequel being a better movie, I'm not sure that really stands up for 2003. 2018 was a little better at 6.3, but none of these compared to Alita's numbers of 7.6. So overall, I think this fact that a Tomb Raider sequel is coming is actually a good sign. It tells you that studios are willing to make sequels for movies that have box offices very similar to Alita. We've seen that occur with other movies as well. Here in the last paragraph, he mentions the Pacific Rim, where Uprising didn't do as well as the first, but still, even the fact that that got a sequel with very similar numbers to Alita is encouraging. And then he goes, still, if you're one of those folks crowing about the possibility of a gender-bent Indiana Jones or 007, you might want to actually show up for a new Lara Croft movie, since she's not just a female version of a famously male action hero. Well, if you're looking to support a female action hero, I think we've got one right here. You all know who it is. So let me know what you guys think in the comments. Are you excited for a Tomb Raider sequel? Continue to support Alita at the links below. We do not stand by in the presence of evil. Remember to like and subscribe, and you all have a great day. God bless, and we'll talk to you soon. Doc out.